Yet while the business of the world dictates that we shift a proper amount of attention overseas to countries such as China, Japan, Malaysia, and the Koreans for varying reasons, the events that played out in Charleston, South Carolina remind us, yet again, that our gaze and aspirations abroad are meaningless if we are incapable of being a united front here at home. Again, we experience the poison of divisiveness, and again, we bury the dead, clean up the blood, shed bitter tears, and vow for change. Usually, after that, we return to the normalcy of dysfunction, where the extremist thoughts and loudest rhetoric makes the evening news and social media buzz. We continue a society where some shooters are called thugs and other shooters are called mentally unstable or drug-addicted victims or loners without guidance. We continue narratives where a judge takes only 5 seconds to remember the victims of a violent and racist massacre, but takes 5 times as long to ask America to remember the shooter's family as victims, equating the two while 9 deaths still linger in the Carolina air. We press forward with an expectation where the hurting are asked to forgive, only for America to move on and forget the lessons of the past on racism, on bigotry, on sexism, on hatred, on maliciousness based on race. Well, forget until the next unsettling tragedy occurs. Often we sit and passively wait until things heal themselves, primarily because we are too nervous to rock the boat this far outside of our comfort zone. Well, my beloved, we as fellow Americans are already way outside our comfort zones. This level of hatred and violence, whether it's fueled by poverty, drug dealing, domestic abuse, or in this instance, the desire to start a race war, it's becoming the new normal within our borders. It's enough to render us incapable of being United States, let alone being capable to compete with the biggest and the best on the global stage for the rest of the 21st century. Therefore, we're left with 2 choices. Now, these are not either-or choices, but rather both and choices. First, if we choose to end the hatred that led to the violence that led to murder in Charleston, South Carolina, twice over the past few months, we have to go after the issues that push the division. Now, for some, that might be taking down a flag. For law enforcement, that should be taking more hate groups out of operation. But for all of us, it must be that we find success in fixing the social ills that we quietly tolerate, even as we loudly recoil from the high-profile incidents that rock us to our core. Ending racial divisiveness in employment practices ends the division we see in America. Ending racial disparities in academic settings ends the division we see in America. Breaking glass ceilings in business and industries, they break down the walls that divide us along the lines of race, gender, sexual orientation, economic backgrounds, and religious beliefs. And that starts here in Pittsburgh, in our communities, with our disparities. We must do so with our honesty in tow and our egos checked at the door. We must bridge our communities from the positive press clippings to the painful realities that too many people experience. The highest highs of American greatness this century will rest on the foundation of civility we promote and secure within our borders for all of our fellow citizens. Now, this generation is experiencing social upheaval akin to the 1960s, and because of that, I get the frustration that many Americans are feeling going through all of this. And that was echoed by what my friend Ellis Cannon said last night.
Understand the way I look at it is not just a step backwards again, but another reflection of sorts of where we were and seemingly can't get away from. When you go into a holy church, a sacred church, and you kill 9 people, some elderly, 6 women, and you do so in the name of hate, we have a problem. And I'm getting tired of the problem. And I'm old enough to remember when it was a problem before. And my mother reminded me in her tears, her weeping today at her age, just how painful this all could be.
I understand that pain. Yet I also know that we must make a second choice. We must choose to remain optimistic, We must choose to remain confident in America and cognizant of the fact that we are a better nation in regards to race and gender equality than we were in the 1960s. We are not perfect, but our more perfect union has advanced over the past 50 years. Heck, just looking at our team here at PCNC, from our directors to our technical teammates to the host of our talk shows, it's easy for me and for you to see how genuine and loving progress has been made. Just looking at our newsroom here at WPXI, it's easy to see more of the same. Are we perfect as Americans? No, but we're not tragically flawed either. We have not completely overcome, and the signs are all around us to highlight that, but we have overcome a lot together as one big team. We did that through prayer, inspiration, hope, and action. Honest, persistent action. We made progress that pointed out problems without merely just wagging a finger at a race or calling somebody a villain. And if we're going to make America better for our children and our grandchildren and compete successfully with emerging countries and new challenges, we're all going to have to do that again. Where we go in the aftermath of this senseless loss will be a result of our choices as men and women of America. To hold hands and walk together, to hold each other accountable, to hold honesty and a high regard, and to hold our values as an American people together above the differences that come about because of the diversity found within we the people.